guys, welcome back to another Lambeth Made episode. I'm your host Tyra and I'm here with
Fabian.
And today we have a special guest, someone who really works hard with the community and he's literally an advocate for what we're doing right now. We have here today
Jenavi. Woo!
Yay!
Do you know, that was the best introduction I could ever see. And you know, guys, I didn't even pay her to say any of that. It came straight from Tyra's mouth. So, yeah.
Off the brim. Jenavi, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about your role.
I will. So my name's Jenavi. I am a creative link worker on the Lambeth Nextus Program, which is a program aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds who live in Lambeth. And the idea is really to help broker opportunities in the creative sector. That's so internships, bootcamps, and work experience placements that ultimately help young people to secure internships paid at London living wage and improve their job prospects.
Lovely. Fabian, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Oh, I'm doing that? Yeah, cool. I'm Fabian. I work as a podcast production assistant, and I also took part in the Nextus program. Jenavi actually personally helped me. So, yeah, good up you.
We love that. What led you to working directly with the youth?
Yeah, good question. I think it's a combination of lived experiences as a youngster growing up. I'm showing my age now a little bit, but we had one service called Connections. You look probably too young to remember that, but it was a service where you'd go in and they'd sort of provide career support and stuff. And to be honest, anyone that used to work with Connections, apologies in advance, but I found the service to not be very good, not very fit for purpose. I remember going there on one occasion. It used to be, guys, do you know where Anytime Fitness is? You know, next to Tesco's? It's like downstairs.
Which Tesco?
In Acre Lane in Brixton.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there. It used to be there. And I remember just sitting there, waiting, like literally over an hour. No one came to see me, and just the support wasn't great. And that kind of inspired me. I think as an adult growing up, I always thought, you know what? Based on some of my experiences, what job can I do where I can give back and help young people who are in a position that I was in many moons ago and just help them along their career path? Because I think as a young person, it's quite difficult, isn't it? You're trying to navigate what you want to do in your career, but also navigate personal things as well, just your sense of identity, growing up, going through adolescence and then into adulthood. So I've always thought, what skills could I bring to the table? I'd like to think I have a genuine sense of empathy, able to relate to a lot of things that young people go through. Also, again, not to sort of over-disclose, but I had a brother back in the day. He was 3 years older than me, and unfortunately, he took his life. And that kind of always inspired me, because I always thought, you know, there's so much young people that are probably going through a lot of things and they don't have an outlet to sort of really explore what's going on for them, don't really have support that they feel they can tap into. So yeah, it's kind of my reason, I guess, for working with young people.
Wow, that's very beautiful for you to disclose and really strong. Can see that you use tragedy to actually drive your passion. So how do you balance that? Yeah,
I try and balance it by always having my professional hat on. I don't want to always make it about me. It's not about me. It's about the young people that I'm supporting. So I always balance it just by being grounded, reminding myself constantly each and every day of why I'm in this job, which is to help young people along their career journey. And I should say, guys, I know probably hear this so many times, but it's so rewarding, you know, and I've got living proof to my right, Fabian, you know, seeing, helping young people move a step towards their ultimate career goal. It's so rewarding, so fulfilling. But yeah, in terms of just sort of managing that balance, as I said, I try and regulate my emotions. I try not to, as I said, let past traumas that I've experienced inform my work. I'm able to distinguish between, you know, my professional self and supporting and being professional, and yeah, just processing, as I said, the past tragedy that I experienced, the loss of my brother, but not let that sort of influence my soul, not let that be the sole reason why I'm in this line of work.
As a man, how important is mental health to you, and what provisions would you advise other people? Because it seems like you're really taking it well.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I'm a big advocate for good mental health and well-being. And as you kind of alluded to, it's difficult. I think, you know, in this day and age, there's still very much a stigma around mental health. It's still kind of a taboo subject. And being more specific, I hate to say it, but especially in the Black community, sometimes, you know, we don't sort of face up to the fact that we might have brothers, sisters, significant others that are experiencing adverse mental health. And sometimes because of the perceived shame or sort of negative perception it might create, sometimes we sort of adopt the ostrich in the sort of head in the sand approach and try and ignore it, or, you know, sort of turn to sometimes more divisive ways of dealing with mental health, whether that's substance misuse or sometimes some people can be, you know, overly promiscuous, or sometimes it just manifests itself in different ways. But I think through my work, I always try to create a sense of camaraderie. I don't know if you can attest to that, Fabian. So as soon as we sort of with my clients, so how it works, guys, is we get referrals on the Nextus Program. We'll onboard them, have an initial IAG, information, advice and guidance session where we set out what the program is going to be about, you know, agreeing a way forward in terms of how often we'll meet, what some of your goals are. But through that, I try not to make it all business. I try to sort of set my laptop aside and just have a frank, organic conversation. And I don't know, I'd like to sort of bring in... we kind of talk about our shared love. I think we're both big Kendrick Lamar fans and stuff like that. And I always just try and make my space, obviously with respect, with all due respect to boundaries and stuff, but try and make a space, try and nurture and cultivate a space where young people can tell me how their day is. You know, I don't want them to feel like, okay, everything's just Nexus specific and anything outside of that they can't disclose. But what do you think, Fabian?
You know what? It's funny how you asked me this, because like my family always say, oh, before that I joined the Nextus Program, I was so silent, like just never talk to anyone. So I guess in a way, thanks to like how you managed me, that kind of led to like why you could say I'm such a character at you know, just portraying my thoughts and just, you know, just talking to people on a day-to-day basis.
See, I think that's always been there in you, though, Fabian. I think sometimes you're... I love your level of... I mean, he's clearly had a slice of humble pie this morning. One of the most humblest guys that I know. But I think, to be honest, you've always had that charisma inside you. Maybe I've just helped you feel comfortable enough to bring that side of you out. But, you know, and this is the beauty about Nexus. It's about helping young people realise their potential. And hopefully, as I said, Fabian's living proof of that.
So I do. What? So I got another question.
If you're not,
all right, cool. What do you think Lambeth could do better when it comes to youth well-being?
Well, look, I think first of all, it's important to realise that there's a lot of support out there. I think sometimes it's just about making sure that young people are aware of what support is out there and signposting them accordingly. You've got good services like Kooth, it's a service for young people's mental health well-being. You've obviously got Lambeth Talking Therapies. You've got CAMS, Child and Adolescents Mental Health Services. So there's a lot of support out there, but maybe we can do a bit more in terms of just using social media as a way of...
making it more aware.
Exactly, increasing awareness. But I think the biggest thing as well is word of mouth, normalising conversations about mental health and... making young people feel comfortable enough to ask for help. Because I think, as I said, going back to that whole thing about the taboo and stigma around mental health, sometimes it's a bit of a subject where it's a bit like, I'm going through this, but I kind of don't want to say nothing because I'm a bit worried about how people might see me. So let me just keep quiet and I'll just try and muddle along and work my way through this period of darkness. But, you know, there is a lot of services out there, and you're probably sick of the sort of amount of emails I send, but anything I come across that I feel is going to be of benefit to young people, as I say, it doesn't have to be Nextus or specific, but if it's just any kind of service, I'll always sort of disseminate that information and share it. And, you know, I always at the end of my emails say, look, if you want to talk to me about it in a more sort of private one-on-one, please do. Yeah,
I think that's very, very important, because even I feel like your role is, you're literally the middleman of seeing youth transition. So from being in the educational system to even trying to get work I feel like there's a lot of emotional stress because they don't really have any other responsibility for them to take on. And sometimes I feel like that's what hinders them to actually like go forward. So how do you balance like keeping the youth motivated as well as actually like being logic about it? Because I feel like a lot of kids actually do have passions, but emotionally they don't know how to navigate themselves, especially as a teen. You ain't experienced enough.
Yeah.
All you know is your emotions. And sometimes we feel like we know best. But you as an adult, what advice would you give?
That's a very good question, by the way. I love it. I think it's a difficult one. I think make that transition from being in the bubble of full-time education, you know, going secondary school, to then navigating that transition of being a young adult, you know, when you get your national insurance card when you turn 16, and then it's like, okay, I've got a choice to make. I can either go on to further education, college, sixth form, or I can choose to work. And then you've got different pressures, external pressures. You've got, you know, pressures from your parents or carers about what they want you to do and what they see is the right way forward for you. But sometimes that can be at odds with what you want to do. You've got pressures from friends. You've got societal pressures of, you know, at this age, you should have this, that, and that. And then obviously, you know, we're in an era now of social media where, you know, people portray certain aspects of their life where it's easy to, pardon my phrase, but get gassed up about, oh, you know, this person's only this age and yet he's pushing this whip and he's achieved that. So it can create so much pressures which can be detrimental to your mental well-being. But I always just encourage young people to just have certain goals and also to remind them that it's actually okay not to have everything figured out. You know, the amount of growth I've done from when I was probably around you guys' age to where I'm at now. And that's the beauty of life. I think we're constantly evolving. We're constantly changing in terms of our preferences and what we want to do. So yeah, I just always assure young people that it's okay not to have things figured out, but let's start with the basics. Let's start with what piques your curiosity, what things make you tick, what things are of interest to you. And then hopefully through a process of elimination, I'm able to help guide young people through the labour market and thinking of careers, opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, traineeships, training programs, accredited courses where they feel, actually, this would be a good start. And then from here, just help them to chart a journey in terms of their career of, okay, this is the potential of where this could lead to. I think in terms of motivation, it's just about trying to think of quick wins. Sometimes that could be something as innocuous as, do you know what, today, let's do a CV. And whilst that might seem like, okay, how's that motivating? But I think sometimes if you've got a CV and it's really good, that in itself can be quite motivating to say, okay, you know, we've worked on this, it's really good. It does me justice in terms of conveying my skills and my competencies. Yeah, let's go. Let's get it out there. I think there's stuff like that. But also I'm a big advocate as well of reflective practice, you know, getting young people to reflect on the journey they've made so far. So even though sometimes it can feel like banging your head against the wall and it can feel very frustrating, I think the journey of job hunting can be quite arduous sometimes, you know, and, you know, we've been there, isn't it, Fabian, where we're applying for jobs and you've been active and it's like, you're getting the same thing, thanks, but no thanks. It can be demoralizing, but I just encourage young people to stay the course because I am a firm believer that the cream always rises to the top and hard work will always pay dividends. So just stay the course. I always try and book appointments in because it's very easy for the motivation to fizzle out and, you know, you miss one or two appointments with me and then, you know, it kind of breeds a sense of, I've kind of let Jenavi down. Let me just kind of go AWOL. And then that in itself kind of perpetuates feelings of negativity. And, you know, I always try and encourage young people, look, I'm not a teacher. It's not mandatory.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. If you miss an appointment, it's fine. You know, I will go at the pace at which you feel comfortable. I will never try and coerce young people or go sort of faster than what they feel is appropriate. I always try and meet them at their level and yeah, just support them in a holistic way.
I love that you mentioned that you're not a teacher because I feel like that the difference between as well that the youth actually experiences the transition from being in a field where you have rules. You literally have to have a routine, and it kind of limits the space when you're meant to be like the most creative. And I feel like that's the burden on the transition part of actually stepping into the real world, because you're so used to actually being, I don't know what the word is, but like timid. In school, you're not really allowed to be expressive. You're not really allowed to like wear different hair colours or, you know, step out your comfort zone. And a lot of teachers, I don't believe, are in it for their own passion. It's more so for the job. So they don't know how to relate. And I really love how you mentioned that you actually tailor to each individual's needs. So for the viewers to get a more rough idea of your role, would you guys like to give a breakdown of you guys' journey? Because Fabian is literally an advocate of what Jenavi does, guys.
What, me or you first?
You go first.
So it was one dark evening. Now
Sounds like the start of the Dickens novel.
I believe it was 2024.
Yeah,
2024.
It's about October times. No, it would have been before that. It would have been in September, because you jumped on the Find Your Feet bootcamp, and that was in October. So we would have met before then.
Like 2024, like around summer.
Yeah, end of summer,
Spring,
like end of August, September times.
Yeah, so I remember I was doing like another like boot camp or something similar to like Nextus. And I remember moving from there to Nextus, and I remember getting introduced to Jenavi, and I was like, you know, this. I think we're gonna get somewhere, you know. I think we're gonna get somewhere, because immediately from the first time I met you, I can already tell the social engagement was much higher.
Yeah.
So there's already more of a compelling like force for you to kind of be where you're meant to be. Yeah. And because one thing I would say, I struggle a lot with motivation. So like if I go long periods of time doing absolutely nothing, I'm gonna carry on doing nothing. And that's why I was saying, that's why I felt like being able to have the one-to-one in person with you was like very helpful, because we used to do it like every week, and every week was like, all right, cool. This is what you want to do. We're gonna apply to this. All right, cool. Your CV, cool. We're gonna update that like 3 more times. Cool. Your interview prep, you ain't done an interview prep. So it was a lot of things keeping me engaged to like be like, all right, cool. I'm working towards something, which was like super nice. And then I remember we still didn't have any luck like finding what I wanted to do. And I remember Jenavi must have came to me being like, there's the boot camp coming in. And it's like, you might as well do it as we carry on applying and then see how things go. And I remember applying to the boot camp, and I was thinking, I don't want to talk to nobody.
It was a bit overwhelming. There was at least 30 people in your boot camp.
The first day, the first session, too many people.
Yeah, it was
Really?
I was on one table. I don't even remember who was on that table.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, but it was definitely an insightful boot camp, because we met like so many different people in different fields. Like we met Benji, who is a producer, really talented, and what's the word? Sociable. Yeah, good vibes.
Obviously the Emmanuels.
Yeah, Emmanuel, both of them.
Both.
So nice to see them the other day, you know, on the net stuff.
But I think above all else as well, Fabian, and sorry to interrupt, but you've met like other young people that to this day you're still friends with, right? Obviously, I won't name drop any, but you've met you've sort of created a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So that's another benefit.
Every now and then.
Yeah,
which was like lovely. So that was like another sort of layer. I'm meeting new people or getting to know more people. And then whilst also gaining experience, what do we do on that course? We had to make an advert for like whatever we wanted to. I remember my group, we were struggling. I think we ended up coming up with like making like a top 5 new latest artists on like Apple Music, and we had this whole idea of like each Apple being like a new artist, like basically getting pushed by the platform. Yeah, Valentina was also a part of that. Her idea. I'm taking no credit. And then towards the end of the bootcamp, we basically had like a whole like gathering of where we basically got to watch everything we did, and Mayor of London also came. Not London, Mayor of Lambeth also came, watched that with us. Yeah, so that was like a really like cool insight. And then from there,
internships.
Interviewships, yeah. And I remember I was looking at the options, and there was nothing in what I wanted to do specifically. So I picked a podcasting production assistant role, because I was like, I like working with cameras. Let's see where we can go there. And it was the only one I applied for. And I was like, damn, maybe I should apply for more, you know. Maybe I should apply for more. But I doubled down, went to the work trial, met the team, and yeah, I thought I wasn't going to get the job. I'm not going to lie. I thought I did horrid, like horrendous. Apparently, I did very well. Don't believe it. Yeah, and then I didn't originally get the job. I got the 2-week.
Yeah, the work placement.
Yeah, the
initially.
work placement. And then through some miracle of just wishing and grinding, I eventually got the internship.
Yeah, but I think, again, you're doing yourself a bit of a discredit, Fabian, because everything you've just mentioned, you've always applied yourself fully.
Yeah.
Whether it's engaging with me, you never go AWOL. Every appointment since I've known you always turn up on time, personable, fully apply yourself. You're not just sitting there like, oh God, this is boring. Every job that I present to you, you actively take an interest, will apply. You put in the work. You've put in the work. No one could ever accuse you of being idle. And I just think you are shining an example. I hope anyone watching this, any young person that's considering joining Nexus, that follow this young man's footsteps, and you can't go wrong. But what was the initial question again? So I'm just kind of
Your journey.
My journey.
Yes.
So Nexus it's been an amazing journey, meeting different groups of young people that each present with their own unique barriers to finding work. But it's challenging but rewarding, because what we have to do is basically create an action plan that is catered specifically for each young person. So initially, it's funny because I'm sure you don't mind me sharing, Fabian, but our initial action plan was to find roles in IT and hardware, software. Yeah. And this is the beauty of Nextus. Sometimes it maybe sort of sparks an interest in careers that maybe you never even considered. So I think it's fair to say when we our first initial few appointments, I don't think we ever considered podcasting or anything sort of adjacent to that, but through Nextus, and I think through completing the Find Your Feet Bootcamp, I think that opened your eyes to actually, you know what, maybe creative media related careers are something that I'd like to pursue. And now look at you, you're working here at Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
Fully immersed yourself as a podcast. I think one of your specialisms, as the guys were saying, is editing and stuff. And now who knows where that's going to take you?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But yeah.
We have a game that we're going to get into called Then and Now. Everybody clap. Yeah.
Baby, you got a dab. Do a dab. Oh, just messed up the microphone.
So with Then and Now, we're going to give an example of what we would have done before and what we would do now, just to highlight the topic of what we was discussing, which is transition, essentially. And the first one is, at 16, my biggest dream was...
Do you know what? So I am a big car aficionado. I love cars. So I actually wanted to be a mechanic, which is quite weird.
Really?
But yeah, but I would never really sing to the rooftops about my goal, because being raised in a Nigerian household, there's sort of one of three careers that you're kind of forced to pursue, which is either being a lawyer, a doctor, or what's the third one? Lawyer, doctor, or
Pharmacist.
Some kind of I don't know why my mind's gone blank, but it's something that I wanted to actually work at the Ford. Ford had a big factory in Dagenham, and I just wanted to work there. I just wanted to work with cars. I love cars. But yeah, it's a dream that didn't happen, but it's okay. I think the beauty of life is that you never know what's around the corner. And the beauty of life is we change sometimes, our preferences, our outlook.
What's your goal now?
My goal now, ultimately, I've been inspired. I was just talking to Ryan here and how his journey of setting up Orange Bowl, and ultimately I would love to set up my own youth related enterprise. What I would like to do is, I'm sure you guys have heard of like recruitment agencies where they fulfill sort of temporary roles and stuff, but I'd love to do something like that, but specific for young people, sort of like creating placements for young people, and then hopefully leads into jobs, like kind of some kind of job brokerage service, but specifically for young people.
I love that. What about you, Fabian?
I got answer as well.
You thought you could get away with it?
At 16, I never really had like crazy dreams at 16. Apparently, I used to sing a lot, like just randomly. Yeah,
Can we get a little acapella?
Never. Yeah, so I would say I was very much into like music when I was like 16 and whatnot. My dad was a DJ growing up. He used to like listen to reggae and bashment and all stuff like that. So I guess that was like something I wanted to do when I was 16. Now, my biggest goal, I actually don't know. I actually have no idea. I don't know. I think my biggest goal would be, I don't know, happy.
Being happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I already
that's
done
a
that.
goal.
So like,
That is an amazing. Listen, don't underestimate, you know, being happy. And I know some people might say, "Oh, that's a bit subjective. What is happiness?" But happiness obviously looks like it means different things to different people.
yeah.
But that's an amazing goal to have.
that or a lifetime supply of chocolate.
What if there was like a real life Willy Wonka and
Yeah,
chocolate
yeah,
factory?
yeah.
Would you be
Like,
fully
what,
involved?
like, yeah.
Yeah? I'll play the role of Augustus
I'd be
Gloop.
so just, yeah. I know, it's silly, but
Oh, it's
Okay,
not
so
what
sad
about
at all.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you thought you could
yeah.
get away.
Yeah, you thought you could
You're
escape
like,
us,
it's
yeah.
moving on swiftly, you know?
When I was 16, I think my biggest goal was by like 25 to have my own mansion. Like that was just unrealistic, but yeah, I really thought I'd be in a mansion and have my own business. But my biggest goal right now is to just be present. I want to travel as much as I can because I
Yeah.
really do feel like perspective is very important and you got to change your surroundings in order to develop on your character. Otherwise, you just become stagnant.
Yeah.
And to network as much as I can to actually build my personal brand. That's my goal now. So
Good.
before it was like
Love it.
looking for a job, but I'm not looking for a job right now. I'm looking for like how I can actually be my own product before I actually work for someone else.
Love it. Love it. Fully here for it.
yeah.
So the next one is, back then I thought success meant, and then now I define success as.
I think for me, I always thought success was being on a certain wage and earning. I think I was very much more materialistic when I was younger. So I defined success based on certain level of materialism, the kind of car you was driving, how much money you had. And I guess a lot of people will rightly say, you know, those are indicators of success still. But for me, now I define success as, I think you guys have both touched upon it, how content you are in life. You know, are you content? Do you have a degree of satisfaction and well-being and, you know, things like that? Because as I said, as a big advocate of mental health, those things are so important. But also other things as well, like do you have the love and support of family and friends and stuff? Do you find that the job you're in is rewarding? Because I'll say this, I've got friends that work in investment banking, but for some of the biggest investment banks like Bank of New York Mellon and Coots Private Banking and stuff, and they are not happy, you know. Yes, the money is probably the kind of salary that will make your eyes water, but, you know, I think sometimes materialistic things don't always equate to being successful and being content. So yeah, I would say that. What about yourself?
Success. What do I think success was? Well, back then, I thought success all this hard. What do I think success, man? I don't know. 30 and retired. Yeah, 30 and retired. That when I was in school, I was always saying, "Oh, watch, guys. If I'm 30 and retired, I lived a good life. Doesn't matter what happens after that." I guess now it would be 30 and retired, but in a happy mental space. Not only in like a physical sense, but like, you know.
Spiritual.
Yeah. Am I really here in the present that I'm living in that moment?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I fully can resonate with that.
Yeah. Before I used to believe that success meant materialistic validation. So once you actually have a certain look or you have a certain job, you're automatically successful. But now, for example, the Diddy situation, I realized that not everything you see is actually, whatever glitters ain't always gold. And
100%.
the real success is being able to be resilient and having morals and actually being able to thrive through hardships. And it doesn't matter how small or how big, it's just once you actually push past a problem or you move to the next level, that's success. And success ain't a finish line. I feel like success is a milestone.
100. No, I love it.
No, I feel like success is a milestone. For each goal you have, that should still be success. I feel like some people feel like I have to, once I actually have this job, I'm successful, but it don't stop there.
Yeah. And if you define your success based on materialism, once you've achieved all these materialistic things, kind of car, house, what's next? You feel empty, it's a void. So that's why I think for me, and I think you've both touched upon it in different ways, is just success is contentment, attaining a level of contentment where you're content with life. And I think you said that you're present in the moment.
And the last one is advice I would have ignored at 16 and advice I live by now.
You're getting old. Yeah.
But you only, how old are you, 20?
21. No, but like in my family, everyone moves so quickly. So like everyone's like, for example, my mom's only 18 years younger than her father. So in my family, generations be moving quickly. I'm technically late.
Do you know what I would say in regards to that, though? I feel like in today's society, we have this obsession with age. And when you get to certain ages, there's certain milestones that you should have done. I'm a big believer in that everyone run their own race. Yeah. You could be 21 and be a millionaire. You could be 21 and not have two pennies to rub together. But run your own race. And this is we live very much in a culture of FOMO, fear of missing out, and almost a comparison culture. We're always constantly comparing ourselves
to others,
and there's a lot of peer pressure.
Yes, to societal norms. I just say stay the course, stay on your journey, and you know your journey. You might be ahead of your peers, or you might be behind, but the fact is you're on your own journey. Advice I would have ignored. Well, advice I live by now is to just follow your own heart. I know it sounds so sort of hippy-dippy, but follow your own heart, you know. There's so much out there where, you know, you got, as I said, social media influencers or, you know, parents or other people, but ultimately you only have one life to live. YOLO. But, you know, follow your own heart, because if you try to live your life, if other people are trying to give you advice, and sometimes people do it because they want to vicariously live their life, the life they maybe never had through you. Oh, why don't you go uni? Oh, you're telling me to go because you never went. Or they try and do it for clout. Sometimes parents do it. Let's be real. Parents do it because, look, my child, look at my daughter, my son, look at the picture hanging, you know, pride of place in the living room. Well, did you want to go uni, or did you do it to appease your parents? So I would say follow your heart, because I think if your heart is not 100% in something, you'll never do a good job. You know, you might do a job that's, you know, is enough to get you by, but I always say there's nothing like unbridled passion for something. If you're genuinely passionate about something, you'll genuinely excel at it. If you're doing something because you feel, you know, you're doing it to appease others, or you're doing it to subscribe to certain societal norms, you're not really going to do that well at it. And you're probably going to do it a bit begrudgingly, you know, not with a full, whole heart. So just follow your own heart. That would be my advice now.
I actually wanted to add another one. You miss 100% of the chances you don't take. So take every single one of them.
Oh.
Big. Yeah. Big. I love it.
Yes, actually, that was good.
That was big. I'll have to
That was
copy that
really
one down.
good, literally.
Yeah, because like if you like, it's all good and well to say that. Sure, I didn't do it this time. I could do it next time, but you never would have known if you would have succeeded or failed if you never did it in the first place.
100%.
So, which would mean you never learn anything because you never even attempted. You didn't make that first step.
Here's the thing. I always encourage people. Failure sometimes is the most invaluable lesson you'll learn. Most successful people have encountered, and they embrace it, because what failure does is it teaches you about learning from your lessons. If you go through life without ever making a mistake, you're never going to really like learn. Yeah. It's not really a part of growth. So sometimes I know it can be kind of soul destroying when you're applying for jobs and stuff and you don't get it, but learn. And also just one more thing, ask for feedback as well, guys. Yeah. Anytime you apply for jobs, I know it can be like, you probably don't want to hear nothing like, I didn't get the job. But ask for feedback, because that will stand you in good stead for your next opportunity.
Yeah, mine would probably be at 16, advice that I probably got was you got to know what you want to do. Obviously, if you're going to do a job, or you want to actually apply for like further education, you got to kind of know your journey. But right now, I feel like you just got to be present, because you change. The older you get, you experience different things, and your passion changes, your interest changes, and sometimes investing into one thing can kind of like limit yourself as a person, not only for your career wise, but your own well-being. Some people actually stays in relationships, stays in job places that just is convenient for them, just because that's how they had their life planned out. But the beauty of life is sometimes not knowing the known, and just, as you said, being free-spirited and just being present.
Love it. Cool.
That was a lovely episode, guys. Thank you so much. Is there anywhere we will be able to find you, Jenavi?
Yeah, so you can find us if you go to the Nextus website. If you just type in Lambeth Nextus, share the QR codes if you guys wouldn't mind maybe sharing that once you've edited this up. And that's it.
Thank you so much. If anything that you like and you took, please find the information down below. Would also add a suicide helpline and mental health helplines for anyone who's suffering or just anonymously like to converse or look for assistance. But that is a wrap from us, guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And that is another Lambeth Made podcast. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.